Hello, my name is Maureen. This is a flow and restore class that references a vinyasa flow combined with restorative yoga. Vinyasa flow is designed to lift your energy and release it. It is considered an energy movement practice. And as we know from the laws of physics, energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. So energy will either coagulate and get denser, which is what we will do in restorative yoga as we release and relax and really grow heavy in the body. And energy can also get lighter and lighter. And that's the purpose of the vinyasa, to just let the energy, positive or negative, move through your body and release. All right, so when you have a practice that involves restorative yoga, you need a lot of props. You can always pause the video. If you have a bolster, like you might find at the UMBC fitness studio or at a yoga studio, fantastic, use it. If not, you'll improvise. These rollers, these foam rollers, there's a short one, there's also a longer one. They're firm and you can add towels or blankets to make them a little softer. You can use beach towels and you can use pillows. If you do use pillows, use firmer ones and use a lot of them. So you can have all these things on hands. You'll need blocks. And if you don't have yoga blocks, then you can substitute full toilet paper roll or, a hardbound book. But you'll need several of them. Thinking about the height. At least 2 to 3 inches that a yoga block would tend to give you. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. This is a 50-minute class, and traditionally you would have a long segment of restorative poses. I'm going to introduce you to several poses so that you can have them available to you, and you can pause the video to hold them a little bit longer than I am able to hold you in this shorter class. So use this video to really tailor the practice. All right, let's begin with a little bit of stillness, a little bit of centering. Find a comfortable seated position. I am using one towel, just folded to lift my hips. My ankles are resting on the mat. That's very helpful for just letting the knees be equal to the hips or even lower, depending upon your flexibility, which encourages blood flow. So experiment. You can try putting feet parallel to one another or the crisscross. And wherever you get to, just try to notice that there is a little bit of balance between ease and effort here as you lengthen up nice and tall through the spine. These moments of centering at the beginning of the class are an invitation to turn inward. And to help you do that, I invite you to lower your gaze or close your eyes. And just taking a couple of deep breaths. That gives our body a little bit of time to transition and to arrive and be present for this practice. And now bring your hands to meet at your heart. This is Anjali Mudra. Rest your thumbs at your sternum, fingertips point up, elbows extend out wide. And I invite you to set an intention for this practice. An intention is a single word, could be a phrase, and it's a characteristic, a quality, it's an aspiration, something you want more of. And it could also hold a person as your intention, someone who is on your mind. And hold the intention at the front of your mind as we practice. Take a big deep breath in and an even deeper breath out. And release your hands to your thighs and then off to the side with palms facing forward. Push down through your sit bones. The sit bones are at the base of your rear end, at the base of your spine. Draw your belly in. And on an inhale, arms sweep out wide and up high. And just let this wake up your spine. Turn your palms away. And exhale slowly. Let your arms match your breath. Inhale. We'll do 2 more of these. These are sun breaths. Really press down through the sit bones. Lengthen up through the spine and look up and lengthen through your neck. And turn your palms away. And exhale, lower. Lengthening, deepening the breath, waking up your shoulders, waking up the spine. Last one. Big inhale, let the ribs expand, let your spine lengthen, lift your chin up, look up. And exhale, bring it down. Letting breath lead movement, release that. And then keeping this core engaged, just adding a few neck circles. Just giving a little time. Moving the body gently before we jump into our vinyasa. Going the opposite way. And then coming back to center. Again, root down through sit bones, draw the belly in. Inhale, arms up overhead, nice tall spine. And then right hand grabs left wrist. As you pull that arm up and side bend to the right. Inhale back to center. Release the bind. Now left hand grabs right wrist. Pull that arm up and tip over. Feel grounded down through both sit bones. Press down through ankles to stabilize you. And let this opening be from your right hip up to your right shoulder. And release and let it go. And hands release off to the side and meet behind your back and interlace. So just think about the hands interlacing together. And we're going to pull the hands away from the back so your arms are straight, opening up through the shoulders. And then I invite you to just bow forward to where it's comfortable. Keep lifting the arms up to the degree that it's comfortable for your shoulders. And just come forward as far as you can. And then release, rise back up, hands release down to your sides. Let's twist. Lift up arms overhead. Twist your torso to the right. And then let the arms descend. Finding some position to leverage. Press down through those arms as you inhale. Lift up tall through the spine. And exhale, twist. And inhale back to center. Lift up through the arms and through the spine. Turn to the left with your torso as far as you can. And then arms float down. Find leverage. Inhale, lift up, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, twist a little deeper. And when you're ready to release, you inhale back to center. Let's send the left leg out long. Keep your right knee bent. And bring it to the thigh if that's comfortable for you. Or make it wider if your legs are tight or muscles are tight. Press down through the heel of the left foot. Turn your torso towards the extended leg and bow forward. Your hands might come down the leg, just going down to where you can comfortably release and tune into the lengthening of the back of the leg. Keep pressing down through the heel and pulling toes towards knees and breathing. And lift up. And now come with this left forearm coming down inside this long leg. Turn your torso now towards the bent knee and have a side bend towards the extended leg. This foot is flexed and active. You're releasing weight down onto this forearm. And you're experiencing this lengthening on this left side of the body. If it's okay with you, you could lift that arm and drape it over the head. And release. That's Janu Sirsasana. Switch legs. Press down through the right heel. Pull the toes towards the knees. Turn your torso towards the extended leg and bow. And just tune in. Meeting your body where it's at. Let your forward bend be what's right for you. Your hands might be at knees, at shin, at ankle, at toes. Everybody's different. And rise up. Now turn your torso towards this bent knee as you release this right forearm down towards this extended leg and bow, side body. Keep this leg active, the long leg active. Your hand could stay down low, or you can bring it up and drape it over this left side of your head. And rise up and release. And let's come standing and move into our vinyasa. So removing any blankets and placing blocks, if you like them, for lunges at the front of your mat. Remember, I can demonstrate the substitutes work just as well. So using the toilet paper rolls, improvise. Standing at the top of your mat, find Tadasana, rock forward and backward. Spread your toes out and really take up the space so that you have a lot of connection. Firm legs, firm core, tailbone points down, roll shoulders up to your ears, palms face forward. Let's warm up gently into this vinyasa, energy movement practice. Let's move through it slowly and tune into alignment. Inhale, arms out wide and up high, look up. Turn your palms away, hinge at the hips and bow. Long spine as you bow forward, add a bend to the knees as your hamstrings are still warming up, but point the crown of the head down. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Long spine, long legs, long arms. Pull your shoulder blades back down your back and reach the crown of your head forward. And then exhale, back. Uttanasana, forward fold. Hands can touch your support as you step the right foot back, straight leg lunge. Waking up the hips, sink the pelvis a little lower, lift your heart, lift your gaze, be light on fingertips. Remove the blocks or the supports as you step back, downward facing dog. Taking a little time to warm up the body in this pose, deep bends with both knees and then a little length. Walk the dog. One heel goes down, opposite knee bends. And then just take a moment to pause in stillness, in down dog. And on an inhale, you shift forward to plank. Try to create a line from heels up through crown of the head. Engage and squeeze all of your muscles, strong shoulders. And since this is the beginning, you can come to knees and do a half plank down to the ground, but keep elbows close to ribs. As you release, immediately press the lower half of your body down into the mat. As you inhale, lift the upper body. Pull shoulder blades together down your back for baby cobra. Keep those elbows in. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes. Inhale, lift up to table. Exhale, lift back up, downward facing dog. Feel the circle. Feel the cycle of the sun salutation. On an inhale, lift your right leg up long. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it to your ribs, and step it forward. Straight leg lunge. Lower the hips, lift the heart, lift the gaze, and press off back foot to join front foot. Uttanasana, forward fold. Point the crown of the head down, lift up through the hips. Hands on hips to help you remember to keep your spine long. Pull your belly to your spine. And inhale, rise. Arms out and up. Look up, hands touch. Exhale, hands to Anjali Mudra. And release, hands to your sides, and we'll go again. Inhale, arms out wide. Look up, Urdhva. Exhale, palms turn away, bow forward. Coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Check in with your hamstrings. Let them warm up slowly. Inhale, rise up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Reach the crown of your head forward. Exhale, forward fold, and step the left foot back, straight leg lunge. Wake up the hips, lower the pelvis, light fingertips, lifted gaze. Lower the back knee down to the ground, hands to knees, hands lift up. Maybe your gaze looks up as you sink a little deeper into this Anjaneyasana. Gaze and hands float back down to the ground. Lift the back knee and step the right foot back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Savasana. Take any time you need to warm up and then find stillness as you settle into this pose for several breaths. Lift your hips up and then push the weight of the hips back. Spread your fingers out wide to protect the wrists. Press into your index finger and thumb. Press shoulders away from the mat, making an upside down V with your body. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Squeeze everything. Draw your energy to your midline and exhale, lower. And find your foundation to inhale, lift up. Perhaps your arms lengthen to come into full cobra. Maybe you lift your chin, meet your back where it's at. As you exhale, lower. And we meet in downward facing dog. And slow the heart rate. And move and sense the movement between intensity and rest in this flow. On your inhale, left leg rises long behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it to your chest, step it forward, straight leg lunge, lower hips, lift your heart, light fingertips, back knee lowers to the ground, and inhale, lift up. Maybe you look up. Exhale, gaze and hands float down to frame the front foot, back knee lifts, press off back foot to join the front foot. Uttanasana, forward fold. Feel the hamstrings warming up as you add some length to those legs. This time we will reverse swan dive. So pull your belly to the spine. Inhale, reverse arms out wide, up high. Urdhva Sthasana, look at your thumbs for a small back bend. Hands touch. Exhale, release. Hands to your side. Take a breath in. And a breath out. And inhale, arms out and up. Turn your palms away. Exhale, bow. Point the crown of the head down. Lift up halfway. Reach out long through the crown of the head. Exhale, back to your forward fold. Step the right foot back. Straight leg lunge. Lower the hips. Find this pose. And then spin the back foot. And rise up and windmill, arms out to find warrior two. Sink a little deeper. Your gaze looks out over front fingertips. And you have a big opening in this lateral pose. And then we sweep back around. You're on the ball of the back foot. Arms are parallel. And then arms float down. So you can step back. Downward facing dog. Stabilizing here, coming back to a slower breath and a slower heart rate. And then inhale to plank and move through your vinyasa down to the ground and up into your back bend. And let this wake up your energy and release it as you lower. And we meet in down dog. Meet your body where it's at. Take your time to transition in a way that supports your body. And then we meet and rest in downward facing dog. On an inhale, your right leg rises. Three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee and pull it to your ribs and step it forward. Find this lunge. Lower the hips, lift the heart. And then we transition by spinning the back foot to totally connect with the ground. Press down through strong legs as you rise up, twist and windmill arms out. Gaze is over front fingertips. Try to keep the height of the arms at the same level. See if you can sink a little deeper. Feel free to rearrange if your feet aren't in the right position. Keep breathing. Be strong. And then transition by pivoting onto the ball of the back foot. Hands meet. Hands float down to frame the front foot. Press off back foot to join the front foot. And the last of your forward folds here. So stay here for an extra breath. Add the length to these hamstrings. Lift up through the hips as you point the crown of the head down, pulling ribs to thighs to the degree that your body cooperates. And then let's reverse swan dive. Pull your belly to your spine. Arms sweep out wide, up high. Look at your thumbs, hands touch. Exhale, release. Keep your hands in Anjali Mudra. Take a big deep breath in. And a slow, smooth, deep exhale out. And release your hands to your sides. As we begin to transition, let's do a Prasarada Padottanasana, a wide-legged forward fold, which is a good release after vinyasa practice.
Step your feet wide. Use your wrists as a guide to how far apart you can stand and still balance. With bent wrists, drop a plumb line. If you want to stand closer and you feel better, feel free to adjust. Hands at the hip crease. We bend at the hip crease, not at the waist. Take a breath in, lift up. Exhale. Long spine. Bow forward. And just tune in. Creaky joints. That's okay. When you move in this way, you're getting synovial fluid into the joints. Let your hands come underneath your shoulders. If your hands don't touch the ground, then this is where a block or a substitute will assist. And just tune in, invitation to walk the hands forward. Your hips pull back, and you add this beautiful length to your spine, a version of downward facing dog. Hands walk back, and now bow. Round the spine, bow the head, coming down just as far as your body allows, and breathing. Hands come to hips, bend the knees, and rise up with a long spine. As your heel toe, feet back underneath hips, and we'll come down to the ground in a squat using Malasana. So step your feet wide, typically as the width of the mat, and heels are in and toes are out. But you can adjust and make it a wider stance if you have tight groins or tight hamstrings. Take a breath in and lift up through the heart. Exhale, sink into your Malasana, elbows inside knees. Take a minute, adjust, move side to side, wake up those hips if that's all right for you. Never moving in this way if it gives you pain. And then hold in stillness and activate. So lift to the pelvic floor, to the navel, to the sternum. Keep active, keep pressing elbows out and knees pressing in. Breathing. And then to release, hands touch the ground, and I invite you to bow your head forward, allowing lengthening from the tailbone through the crown of the head, and then come out of the pose with one knee down and the other knee down. And so we begin with our restorative poses. The first one is requires no props. It's lying on your belly. It's crocodile pose, and it is a hip opener. So coming down onto, perhaps coming into this via table, come onto forearms, release onto your belly. You roll towards one leg, and you come onto the inside edge of the foot and the inside of the knee. Perhaps the knee is bent, and then you roll to the other side to come onto the inside edges of knees and feet. And then you release the upper half of your body. You can either stack hands palms down or palms up. I encourage you to try palms up because your palm on the forehead is activating many energy points. Once you find the pose, the knees are not really meant to be bent, so you are extending them long. That just helps us get into the pose. This is a hip opener. If you are in any pain, then turn these legs more in alignment with the hips. Just release the whole pose and just relax with the tops of your feet touching the earth. If it's okay, then stay there and just tune in. As you lower your heart rate and you really just giving yourself this time, face down. You should be tuning into your breath. You should feel with an inhale your abdomen pressing against the mat. Really tune in and notice as your breath settles after that vinyasa. See if you can tune in to feel the breath moving deeply through your body. And you stay here. And restorative yoga, you hold poses for a period of time, a lot longer than you typically would hold, to allow the body to truly sink into this, to really allow that, like we talked about, that allowing the energy to get denser, to coagulate, and come to static stasis.
And so this is a quiet practice. You'll have my voice just as guidance. The intention is to allow the body to release and relax, but you're conscious. You're not asleep. If you fall asleep, so be it. You needed it. If you have music, you could pause the video and play that in the background. Music doesn't work so well over these recordings. Just taking in 1 or 2 more breath cycles in this pose. And when you finish your next exhale, I'm going to invite you to come out of this pose by lifting your forehead up and bringing those elbows more underneath shoulders, and then releasing one leg at a time. Rolling to one side and finding one of your blankets, one of your towels. Beach towels are fantastic. You're going to experiment with the height of the towel or how many folds for the towel. I found that this height is good for me. Always know that you can pause the video to make this just right for you. So I'm inviting you to place this bolster down. It's going to go underneath thighs or underneath knees. This is called supported locust. So placing it a little bit lower down the mat and then laying your body on top of it. And, you know, locust pose, active locust pose is a back bend. So this is creating an opening in your back, but with support. So placing the blanket underneath your thighs makes that back bend a little bit deeper. If that does not feel comfortable, then you lower it and allow the blanket to be underneath the top of the knees, in which case you might choose to put a pillow underneath your ankles. This is not lit candles, it's LED. And so take your time to experiment. Your head can, your forehead could rest on stacked hands. You could turn onto one cheek, adapt, find the best place for you to place your head, and feel free to change it as we hold this pose. Just notice that this prop underneath thighs or knees is making your back, it's creating a back bend, but it's a supported back bend. So no weight. Once you find the pose, you find the place that feels good for you, and then you sink into it. Let your body feel heavy. With each exhale, see if you can really sink into the earth a little bit more. The more you do these practices, this restorative poses, and you can practice holding them, you'll get better at releasing and releasing quicker. You can experiment with your arms. It might feel better to have them by your side. It might feel better to have them bent or underneath your forehead. You keep experimenting and you keep adjusting until it's just right for you. Restorative pose is meant to be 100% delicious. So if it's not, then you adjust and readjust. One more breath cycle here. If it's particularly delightful, you can pause the video and stay longer. Typically, a restorative pose would be held for 4 minutes. But we're going to prepare to transition out of this. So place hands at your heart with bent elbows and press yourself up into a version of table. as you pull aside these props. If you have a bolster, I'd like you to bring it into play now. Put it vertical on your mat for supported child's pose. If you don't have a bolster, then you want to get multiple pillows. So think, about 6 inches off the ground. And if you're still struggling, then use those blankets or go get more pillows. You want to have your whole torso supported from pubic bone up to your head. And to come into the supported child's pose, you get your supports in line vertically, and then you walk your knees up either side of the supports. So knees are wide and your big toes are touching. If there's any strain to get the hips down onto the heels, then you could put one of these blankets between hips and heels. And then you lay the body over your supports. You really want the head supported, so I'm going to be adding to my length so that you can have the spine supported in a single line. Readjust, adjust, readjust until you find just the right place, and you'll know when you found it. Child's pose is accessible to everybody, no matter what shape or size. And you might just keep adding pillows. You might add more towels. You might, if you had blocks, you might put them under there to create a little ramp. You just keep experimenting until you find just the right angles for your body to be fully supported and to release. In child's pose, we fold the body in thirds. Just taking that into your perception of your body. You're bringing your heart closer to the earth. You're making sure that head and neck are supported, and the benefits are threefold. It's passive hip opening, a passive opening for the low back, and a passive opening for the shoulders, just pulling those shoulder blades apart. Really tuning into your breath here. It's not that you're trying to control the breath in a restorative pose. Rather, you're just tuning into the natural rhythms of your own body. And as you lay in silence and in stillness, the body lowers in tempo. And as the sound of the word of the name of this practice, restorative yoga, it restores your body, it restores your mind. You feel free to turn your head the other way, or if it's so nice, you stay right where you're at.
Maybe cultivating this sense of trust that you can, that this time is available to you, that your body is held up securely by these props. And that you can give yourself this gift.
This gift of slowing things down. Let's prepare to transition. Finish one last breath cycle. When you finish that exhale, you'll press your hands into the mat to assist your torso to lift up. I'm going to take these props off the mat so that you can now change and come onto your back. In restorative yoga, the instruction is that you move so as not to disturb yourself. Now, if you have a block, we're going to use it for a restorative bridge. If you don't have a block, then fold your towel so that it's of a decent girth, 2 to 3 inches. It's going to go underneath your sacrum. So come onto your back, lower onto elbows. And come into supported bridge. Let the feet be the heels be a little closer to your sit bones to support you as you lift your hips up and place the block at your low sacrum. It's below your waist. It's this upside down triangle, the base of your spine. That's where the block rests. It holds your weight. If you place this block too high at that waistline, it's the low curve at the back. It's not going to feel comfortable. So experiment, lift your hips up and move the block around until you get it in the right place. Lift, your elbows can lift your upper body up so that you can place both shoulder blades flat on the ground. Move props aside so that you can release your arms several inches away from the body, palms facing up. And release. Let your hips feel heavy. Let the hips have a sense of just melting off either side of the block. If you want to let go of any effort in the legs, you can walk feet wide and let the knees bow in towards one another and lean on one another. And you just tune into this. This is just a slight elevation of the heart above the brain, and it's tipping the blood flow the opposite direction, which is very healthy. And you have an option if you want a little bit deeper opening. If you want to see what it feels like to extend your legs long, it's going to open up these hip flexors. If there's any pain, you come back to bent knees. Just experiment. Find the most delicious position for your body, and we'll stay here. I'm going to introduce a different restorative pose. So to transition out of this, you lift your hips and pull the block out. Remain on your back. We're doing supported reclining tree. So have block or a substitute available. You lie flat on your back, extend your legs long, and then you bend the right knee and just let the knee draw away from the midline and the right foot touch either the inner thigh. It really doesn't matter where the foot touches, anywhere along the extended leg, just so that you can tune into this supine tree pose.
if this doesn't feel so good to have this leg hanging out so wide, the weight of the leg is very heavy, you could support it with either a blanket, a rolled blanket, or the block or the substitute. You could keep your hands at your side or lift the arms up overhead to create this diamond. It's a gentle shoulder opening depending upon the health of your shoulders. Check in with this extended left leg that it is in line with the hip. It's not out at an angle. And just breathe. Let go. The left foot can flop open. This bent knee leg should be heavy and either resting without support or with support, and leaning all of the weight into the block or the hip opening. One more breath cycle here. And then we'll switch to the other side. You'll have to move props if they're in the way. And you might just check in and try the folded blanket as a little bit lower level of support, is encouraging that hip opening. The right leg extends long, the left knee is bent, and then let that left knee fall out to the side, and the left foot touches the thigh, the knee, the calf, really wherever it is comfortable for you, to keep this bent knee out wide. And then check in when you add a blanket, when you add a block, just to give it that extra little bit of support to encourage this hip opening. The right leg is long and in alignment with the right hip, and then the foot flops open to release any effort. Arms can be at the side, palms facing up, or hands up overhead, elbows bent to make this diamond. And breathing. One more restorative pose that I wanted to share tonight. So let's just come out of this pose. The left hand can be on the outside of the left thigh to just bring it up with assistance. You're going to need to bend both knees to come out of the pose and roll to one side. To press yourself up to place the prop in the right position. So the last pose I have is cannoli. Taking a blanket long, a beach towel, and rolling it up. We want this to be as long as your spine from tailbone to the top of your head. And you place this vertical on the mat. The blanket, one end of the blanket is at the top of the mat, and then wherever it gets to on your mat, you're going to lift your hips and place your tailbone right at the base. It's important that you understand that the whole spine is supported. Your sit bones, your tailbone is not on the mat. It is at the base of the blanket. And then you lower onto elbows and release your weight. And the spine is completely supported all at the same height. If your blanket's too short and your head falls off the top, then you're going to want to add the second blanket or a pillow, because you want the neck supported. You don't want the chin tipping up, or neither the chin tucking towards the chest. You really are trying to find that your chin is perpendicular to the ground. And then I really want you to sense that your spine is fully supported, and you're allowing the shoulders to melt down off either side of that rolled blanket. You can tune in and bring your awareness to ribs. Sense the ribs slightly parting at the midline of the body and just melting off of the outside of the blanket. Same with hips. You're welcome to keep knees bent. The knees can lean in on one another to release effort. And you could also see what it feels like to extend your legs long and then release effort. Feet flop open. Again, experiment, adjust, readjust, find the place, the position of your body that's most comfortable for you, and then you hold the pose. I do invite you to pause the video here so that you can hold the pose for 4 minutes. This is a deeply restorative pose. It's a passive chest opening and an opportunity to really feel that you can pull the breath deep into your lower abdomen on an inhale, and then it releases and reverses up and out of the body. In the interest of keeping to the time, I will invite you to exit out of this pose by bending your knees, rolling to one side, and then removing this towel and coming into the final pose of Shavasana, the last pose to end the yoga practice. Unfurl the body long, walk your heels to opposite corners at the bottom of your mat and allow the feet to flop open. That is a nice release for the hips. Traditionally, arms are at your side, inches away from the body and palms facing up. If you want to add one of your props, a prop that really was very relaxing for you, feel free. Tailor it, modify it. And you sit in silence and you let go. I will call you back to attention with the ring of the bell. Shavasana can be up to 8 minutes long. Again, you're going to need to pause the video to really take in that luxury and that time for yourself. Taking this time in Shavasana gives you the chance to absorb the benefits of the practice. And staying, staying right where you're at. And just tuning into the sound. With your sense of hearing, listening to the sound as it begins and as it dissipates. Listening all the way till it ends. And then invite your breath to deepen and bring your awareness back to all of your senses as you invite small movement to fingers and to wrists. Maybe they bend or roll. Wiggle your toes. Move your ankles. Invite your head to turn one way. And then very slowly turn the other way. As you're ready, allow your body to move in any way that feels good. Might mean a full body stretch, or you might feel like drawing your knees up into your chest and wrapping your arms around your bent knees and rocking back and forth. Just tune in and let your body lead. Eventually, everyone will bend knees and roll to one side. And then press yourself up to a seated position. But keep your attention inward, keep your eyes lowered. And as you settle back into some seated position, let your hands meet at your heart in Anjali Mudra. Bow your head to your heart. Call to mind your intention. Take your intention with you off the mat. Let it be a guide, a frame, like a funnel for your energy and your efforts, so that you move in a way of your own choosing. And I offer this blessing. May this practice open my body for greater health. May this practice open my mind for greater understanding. May this practice open my heart for a deeper capacity to love. Take a big deep breath in and an even deeper breath out. And we end with this Sanskrit word, this word namaste, which means the light in me sees and honors the very same light in you. Namaste. Thank you for your practice. The great thing about videos now is that if you time this right, you can just roll right into bed. If you have any questions, I think you contact Aaliyah, or perhaps we can connect with instructors' emails. Thank you.